Hello, and thank you for joining a demo of Brivo Access. Brivo Access is the next generation building security platform with robust data analytics, streamlined workflows, operational and identity management integrations, and a powerful security features to improve efficiency, enhance safety, and empower activity analysis. Today we will be taking you through a demo of our Brivo Access platform and the Brivo Smart Home solution for multifamilies. But first, let's go over a little bit about Brivo. So Brivo is a cloud-based asset control and prop tech solution for commercial and multifamily properties around the world. These solutions create safer, smarter places to live, to work, to learn, shop, and play. In all, Brivo reimagines smart spaces for the modern property. Over 10 years of cyber audits and over 1 million mobile credentials, we have been able to reach facilities in 40 plus countries with 800 developers using our Brivo Open API platform. And we are still moving to this day. So a little bit of history about Brivo is in 1999, that's when Brivo was started. Between 2001 and 2012, Brivo was the industry's first cybersecurity cloud access control platform. And then we also was the first native cloud hosting video integrated with access control. After that, we were able to include identity management integrations and direct smart lock integrations. And then throughout the years, we started releasing different products that were advancing our platforms, like Brivo Mobile Pass, and then the different additions for Brivo. All the way up to 2021, we have released Brivo Access, the Data Explorer, video snapshot, and anomaly detection. And we'll be going through that within this demo. So the Brivo platform includes different capabilities, and it puts them all together and makes it very accessible to you and easy to use for your users and even easy to manage. So Brivo Access is an asset control for a single office or an entire asset portfolio from anywhere. You can control perimeter doors, elevators, garages, and different amenities. Give the tenants mobile access and fluid access to actually enter into their unit, and remotely control unoccupied spaces. Alongside that, we also have Brivo Video, which is a video and access control simply put together. This helps for streaming to access events. With Brivo Snapshot, you're able to actually take quick photos for reference, and it's flexible and affordable cloud storage. To meet this, we have Brivo Hardware, which is designed to convey the smooth and fluid essence of the solution. So it makes it very accessible to you from anywhere at any time. The platform includes different amenities like access control, video surveillance, mobile management, data analytics, visitor management, and identity management. And from anywhere at any time, you're able to control these features. Once you're actually interested in Brivo Access, we do have 3 editions. The standard, professional, and enterprise. All of these editions are able to be customized to you and what you need. Because of our open API platform, we are able to integrate with almost any security company that you already use today. So with our platform, we have different patents. We have an open API that can merge with any of your existing security resources. We actually have analytics within our platforms that allow you to actually see what's going on with your different locations with your different visitors. And with anomaly detections and Brivo video, you're actually able to see these things live and in action. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to my colleague, Michael, so he can actually take you through the platform. And Michael, if you want to go ahead and get started.
Awesome. Thank you, Donnell. So I'll be able to take you all through the user interface of Brivo Access and show you some of the most popular features. To echo the slides that we just saw a moment ago, Brivo does utilize the cloud for access control. We're the first company to introduce this business model, and we've been in business for over 20 years. So of course, using the cloud allows you to access your system remotely from anywhere in the world. If you're traveling on the road or maybe working from home, you'll still have the ability to manage your facility. We also make sure that you have infinite scalability. There's no limit to the number of users, sites, or doors that can be added to the system. And finally, we push through firmware updates for you. So anytime there's a new security feature, our team takes care of making sure that's uploaded to your system. In the past, with more antiquated systems, a technician would need to come out and download that software. But we're able to utilize the cloud for this purpose, and it makes our system much safer and much easier to use. So when you've logged into Brivo Access, the first thing you'll see is this event tracker, and it's really just a record of all the movement throughout your facility. So in the left column, you'll see the time and date, followed by the time specific to your site. Then finally, we'll have the event type, the username, the site, and then the device. So we can look through this event tracker, which goes back up to 90 days, and make sure that all the activity that we have here is valid. We also can filter out this information. So if we want to filter it out by date or by event name or by user, we can do that here. We also can filter this out by event class. So if, for example, I only wanted to see failed access events, what we identify as critical or warning events, you'd be able to filter out that information and maybe just see those listed here for you. So really easy to use, very useful at a glance, being able to make sure that you have authorized access throughout your building. And if for any reason you ever have a failed attempt or something out of the ordinary, we're going to see a little icon here that will identify and let us know that this user was not able to gain access to the building. Now, we also keep a record of all the changes being made on the back end of the system. As I mentioned, the event tracker goes back 90 days. However, our reporting tools go back much further. At minimum, you should be able to get data and information going back at least 1 year. So included in that information that we'll retain for you is our journal, which is a record of all the changes made by our administrators. Anytime you've logged into the system, added a new user, made a change to a schedule or a door or anything of that nature, it's going to be recorded on the back end for us here in the journal so that we can hold all of our administrators accountable, and we always know who's making changes to the system. We'll be able to see that here. Now, a new feature that we've added to Access is our snapshot log. And our snapshot log will allow us to see a still photo that aligns with our activity. So if we have any, let's say, restrictions for our building or policy or guidelines, maybe we need to wear a mask or maybe we have limits on occupancy, we can check here in this snapshot log and see a still photo and align that with the activity that we notice to make sure that whoever enters the door is following the appropriate guidelines. Next up is a really cool feature, our devices status page. So this is going to show us all of our devices connected to our Brivo account at our various sites. So as you can see, we have multiple sites on this account in Amsterdam, Atlanta, Berlin, Bethesda, so on and so forth. Each of these sites has a number of doors, panels, and/or cameras associated with them. So it's really neat. I'm able to actually go here and click on my device. In this situation, it's our camera at our south entrance. I can verify in real time any identities. I also can control a door associated with this camera. So if I have a delivery person who says, hey, I'm here at the front, I'd like to drop off your parcel, I can verify that it's the appropriate person and even unlock the door from here. So really easy to use. You're able to unlock any and all of your doors from this devices page. And once again, this can be controlled directly from your phone. But when you're unlocking the doors, it'll ask you would you like to pulse open the door. And this will allow the door to be opened for 5 to 10 seconds, really enough time for someone to enter, but not too much time where someone can follow them. If you'd like to set an override, we'd actually be able to open the door indefinitely or until a certain time throughout the day. So that's really easy to use as well if you'd like to keep the door unlocked just for the next couple of hours because you have a meeting. And finally, we can actually edit and dictate the actual schedule of the door here as well. So I'll show you more about that in just a moment. But the Devices tab is a really powerful tool that we've implemented to allow you to control all of your devices from one page, regardless of where you are in the world. So we looked at video a little bit. It's important to note that video can be incorporated in the system in a number of different ways through our Brivo Access Cam platform and or through our Eagle Eye integration. So with that, you're able to store footage for as little as 7 days or as long as 2 years. It's really up to you. Also, you have the ability to record and go back and pull up clips from that footage if you'd like. We can use a number of different IP cameras. With Eagle Eye, pretty much any IP camera will work because of a device that we have called the Bridge, which is the intermediate. So you have a wide open playing field in terms of what cameras you'd like to use, but we tie those into our system so you have everything accessible from one platform in a single solution. I won't get too deep into the reporting tab, but there's maybe 15 or 16 different reports we can pull. The most popular ones tend to be the user activity reports. And with that report, it's similar to the event tracker where you see who's coming and going through your doors. It's just we're able to filter out the information in much more detail for more granular reports. However, the most frequently used ones will all be listed here for us. So if you'd like to configure a report to be automated, maybe you'd like to have a report of all of the failed activity emailed to you every Friday. We're absolutely able to do that. We can configure the reports to be automated so you don't have to manually come in and make those changes and generate those reports. Once you generate the report, it's going to populate in either a new web page for us or on an Excel style spreadsheet document. So next, it will be important to look at our users. This is where all of our identities reside in the system. And what you'll see listed here for us is our first and last name. It's very easy to add users in the system. Brivo boasts an open API, which was mentioned earlier. So it allows us to integrate with numerous third-party software. Really any third-party software if the script is written and in place. So that comes in handy for our users because if you're using our identity management software like Okta or Active Directory, Azure, or G Suite, we're able to integrate with those platforms and pull user information into Brivo. We also can do what's called a data upload. So in this situation, we would have all of our users listed on an Excel style spreadsheet and upload them into our system. If you do have 100, 200, 500 users, it can be awfully tedious to enter them manually, so we offer that option. But if you are entering your user manually, all that's required is a first and last name, and we can say save, and then they're in our system. And then from there, if we'd like to build out a profile, we absolutely can. We can add a phone number, email address, an image here. We also can add custom information. So if we'd like to retain a emergency contact or a parking spot number, we can input that information here. In this case, we have employee ID or hire date. But it's really up to you to customize this profile. Our groups are how we limit permissions in the system. So we'll get more into that in just a moment. But really, it's a matter of setting up what doors can be accessed at what times by our individuals. And then finally, here at the bottom, we have our credentials, which are the method of entry into the building. So we can go the traditional route of using a card or a fob, or even use the KIN pad with a PIN number. The keypad with a PIN number. But what we find is the most frequently used credential at this time is the Brivo Mobile Pass. So the mobile application, which is available for iPhone and Android, very easy to use. You simply need a working email address. You'll receive an invitation to download the app. And once you've downloaded it, all of your permissions are automatically given to you on your phone. So accessing a door is as simple as choosing the appropriate door and holding down a single button. It takes just a couple of seconds, and you're not limited to just one of these options. If you'd like to have a card, but still have the mobile app for backup, you can. Maybe you want to use a fob and still use a PIN number, you can. So you're not limited in any way. You can use any combination of credentials that you see fit. Now, when we're setting up these credentials, we can set an effective date. So if there's a certain time that we no longer want the credential to work or a certain date, we absolutely can include that information here. But to get a bit more granular, we've created these groups, and the groups are how we truly can limit these permissions for our users. So a quick example is there may be a group of general staff who comes through the building 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Maybe there's also a group of managers who can access your doors 24/7. And then finally, a cleaning staff. And our cleaning staff only can access the building after hours or on the weekends. The idea is that we're creating a template of permissions. So once I give my group a name, I can go to each of my doors and choose the appropriate schedule. I can say at this first door, I want my cleaning staff to always have access. And maybe at the second door, I determine that they should only be allowed in 8 to 5. So you'd be able to go to each of your doors and choose the appropriate schedule, maybe no access for these remaining doors. You really only have to do this a single time, one time. And then after that, any user you add to this cleaning group is going to have these same permissions. So you don't have to make an individual schedule for each user. You can do everything in bulk with the groups feature. So it makes our lives a lot easier there. We also incorporate badge templates into the system. So if we want to print out badges for our users, it's really easy to implement images, information, photos, or background images here as well for the layout. So you have a full flexibility to completely customize your badges. Next up, just a quick look at the occupancy management feature, which is offered in our premium editions. So we're going to have the ability to have a glance at how many users are at my facility at any given time. And I can do that through multiple sites. So it shows me I have 5 users on site here in Atlanta. Looks like 11 there in Bethesda. And then my other sites, it looks like everyone's running remotely. I can even click on the user list here to see exactly which users have been marked as on site. So this may be really useful if there are any restrictions on how many people are allowed in the building. We'd be able to keep an eye on that here and maybe reach out to our users if they ever cross the threshold of, in this case, it would be 10 people. I would be notified that we have reached maximum occupancy. And then from there, I can act accordingly. We also have a timeout period. So if after an hour or 8 hours, you want to have someone marked off site, that's perfectly fine as well. All of our administrators are here on the back end under our configuration tab. And these are just, of course, the identities and individuals who can control the back end of the system. So we've implemented these roles for our administrators to make things a lot easier. And once again, these are similar to templates for permissions. So I can look at my regular administrator and see all of their features that are enabled for them. And then I can look at my super administrator, who's a bit higher on the totem pole there, and actually can add or delete other administrators. But aside from that, these custom roles show what features I'm able to use. So a quick example would be this event tracker view only group. Your main purpose in this situation would be to have a look at who's coming throughout your doors, but not necessarily have access to some of the other features in the system. You can go through and fully customize these roles and determine what features should be accessible at what sites. So really useful in terms of setting up a template for your administrators in terms of what they should be able to change and what they should not be able to change or see. So our scheduling portion of the system is here as well and very simple and easy to use. Earlier I showed a 8 to 5 schedule for our cleaning staff, and that was created here. All that needs to be done is a simple click and drag to show the hours of accessibility. It can be different times on different days. We can stop and then start again if we'd like, or copy Monday through Friday or 7 days a week. So very simple to create these schedules and determine when you want to allow access, and then give that schedule a name here. If you'd like to add any holidays or exceptions to the schedule, we absolutely can. So really easy to implement those. And then finally, if we want the schedule to apply to a physical door, maybe an exterior door that we want to be open for part of the day, and then require a badge after hours, that's perfectly fine as well. So it's really easy to set up these schedules and actually apply them to the physical door there. Now with our Enterprise edition of Brivo, you're also getting access to this global view. So this is going to be very useful in showing you at a glance any critical events or issues that you may have at your sites there. Also, we're able to just see a trend of the number of access events. And then finally, the offline devices. We can scroll down and see a map view of all of our sites here. And if we see any red, of course, we can click to get a closer look at what exactly is going on here. And in this case, it looks like I have a critical event at one of my sites. So let's zoom in, and it looks like my Chicago site is where I'm having this issue. So I'm able to look at a list of critical events and see, oh, there were unauthorized door opens at my side door here throughout the morning. But maybe I understand that this was a planned event. Maybe I was testing or holding the door open for a delivery person or something of that nature. I can come here and add notes. Maybe I'll just say testing, and I can clear out this event. I also can check on the status of my panels from here to make sure they're connected and working properly. We also offer the Data Explorer with our premium editions, and this will be a powerful and robust reporting tool that allows us to generate granular reports and, of course, maintain integrity in our data. So you won't have to necessarily go to the reporting tab to generate information. You don't have to make a spreadsheet or a PDF. You're able to use these images that we have in front of us on these multiple windows to identify any patterns or trends and export this information if you see fit. So we'll have the line graph here at the top to show us what sites are really seeing the most activity and have the highest event counts. When we scroll a little bit lower, we have the same information displayed for us in a circle graph. However, we actually can dig a bit deeper. I see here at my Atlanta site, I have the most activity, but maybe I'm gonna zoom in and see what devices or what doors are being used here. I can simply click and zoom in on that information, and it lets me know that all my users are pretty much coming through this front door. But maybe I want to zoom in again and see, exactly which users are coming through the door. You'd be able to generate that information here. And of course, the larger circles represent the higher event count. So a very useful and powerful reporting tool that you have at your fingertips. You can, of course, still get your spreadsheet or table here at the bottom. And then, of course, you are able to export or save this information for your records. The last feature we'll look at in this Brivo Access for now is the lockdown feature. And this is a powerful emergency feature designed to work with both your phone and or computer. So you're able to come to the lockdown big red button here in case of an emergency and say initiate lockdown. That's going to restrict access to your building. So all your users can still exit, but just no one is able to access the building and get in the doors unless they are part of an excluded group. Those excluded groups may include first responders, maybe a security team or managers or something of that nature. So if there are users who you still want to have access in case of an emergency, it is possible. But we can actually customize these scenarios completely. We can fully lock down all of our doors, or maybe we just want to lock down the exterior doors, not the interior. Maybe there's a gate to the parking lot or just one particular site. So you do have the ability to customize these scenarios completely to make sure that you are still allowing access to certain areas if you see fit. But once you push this red button, an email goes out to all of your users, letting them know that we're in a lockdown and to stay where you are. And once you find out that the situation is secure, maybe it's a false alarm, we can just clear that lockdown and we'll default back to our previous schedules. But a very useful and powerful tool. So in case of emergencies, you are able to use this to make sure that everyone is safe. So next, we just want to take a quick look at our Brivo Smart Home platform. And I'd like to share that with you because we find that it's a very useful platform for our multi-family customers, our property managers, and there's a couple of really huge benefits to it. So with Brivo Smart Home, you are able to control your lights, locks, and thermostats using Z-Wave technology. All from a single application, you'll be able to manage your common areas and your units for your property managers, and even allow for self-guided tours. So this is a great platform to increase the value of your property. Now, when you've logged into Brivo Smart Home, what you'll see is the vantage point of a property manager, and you'll have all of your properties listed for you below. So when we click on our properties, for example, this Majestic City Views here, it's going to list off all of the units that we have. We can actually see the little icon of a silhouette inside of the house will let us know that this unit is occupied. Otherwise, a gray will just indicate that it's vacant at the moment. From here, we also can check on the temperature at the residency, the lowest battery, and whether the door is locked or unlocked. So let's take a closer look at our devices. Once again, we can lock or unlock the doors, the windows. We have a temperature flood sensor here as well. And then we can make sure that our gateway is connected. And that'll be very important to make sure that all of our devices are able to communicate with our phone. So we also can look at our properties and make sure that we have all of our users with the proper access, and that can include our tenants or any maintenance or also any property management. If for any reason someone loses a credential, they lose their keys or their card, you are able to, from the screen, generate a code, a customized code that they'd be able to use to access the doors. So once again, as you can see, all of these residencies are occupied, and then we have all of their devices connected. In this case, we even have a thermostat connected, which we can go in and change the temperature and set the heat or set the cool to come on at certain times. So really neat, really easy to use. From this particular unit, I can see my level users who are residents who have access here. And then also, of course, I can see my managers who have access. And then from this screen is where I'd be able to actually send out an email with an access code if I'd like to. I can see details about the unit, notice any logs for changes that have been made, and then, of course, set up scenes, which are essentially scenarios. If I'd like to have the thermostat and the lights to a certain setting, for home or away, I'd be able to customize that setting here. I'd also be able to set up rules. So very useful features implemented into the multi-family platform, and it'll allow us to control our individual units, but still allow us to integrate with access to have control over those common areas. So finally here at the bottom, you'll be able to set up any alerts. You'll be able to see your access logs and reports. And of course, you'll always have that support from Brivo using our customer care or tech support team to assist you. And these little red notifications that you see are just important. They'll let us know if there are any things awry with the unit, maybe a low battery, maybe a water flood sensor is detecting moisture, maybe the temperature has gotten too hot on the thermostat. So we can use these features just as identifiers to make sure that everything's okay in our facility. So that's really all I have as far as a high-level overview of Brivo Access and Brivo Smart Home. So we're going to pause here for just a moment. Obviously, we have more in-depth training available, classes and certifications. But I'm going to turn it back over to my colleague Danielle here, and we're going to possibly open it up for questions.
Yes, thank you, Michael. If you have any questions, we're going to go ahead and take them. You can use the Q&A feature in your control panel, and we will answer them as they come in. So our first question that we have is, will the card reader read 18 or more digits?
So that's an interesting question. It will depend on what card reader you have. So Brivo's card readers aren't necessarily proprietary. We can use any standard Wiegand reader. Any standard Wiegand reader will work with our system. So if you have the appropriate reader, there's a number of different cards that are native to Brivo, and we have all of those here under the credentials section. When we add cards, we can see all of the various formats that we have available. Now, if for any reason your card format is not listed here, it's still possible to swipe to enroll, but it's a bit of a tedious process because you're talking about entering the values manually. But really, largely, it'll be dependent on what reader you're using. If it's a standard Wiegand reader, and if your cards are compatible with that reader, then you'll be perfectly fine.
And our next question is, are there any wireless fob readers?
Absolutely. There's various wireless fob readers that'll work with our system. Brivo has current integrations with Allegiant, Asa Abloy, and Salso as well. So if you're using any of those wireless lock sets, we absolutely can integrate with those to make sure that we're able to meet your needs. Typically with the wireless lock, you're going to have an intermediate device like a gateway or a PIM, which is going to stand to make sure that we're able to communicate back to the panel. So we absolutely do have those wireless options available.
How many users can be added to the system?
Oh, that's a great question. So Brivo is infinitely scalable. So there's no limit to the amount of users, sites, or doors that can be added to the system. So as your business grows, as your facility grows, we're able to grow alongside you.
Can I use my existing cards?
Yeah, absolutely. If your cards are one of these native to one of these formats, I think most access controls are typically standard 26-bit. However, if you're using a 56-bit leaf card or 37-bit or whatever it may be, you have a long list of options here. And then once again, if not, you do have the ability to add them. So yeah, absolutely.
And our next question is, what is the lockdown feature?
Yeah, absolutely. The lockdown feature is designed for emergency situations. So if you ever need to restrict access to the building, you can come here and do so simply by clicking Initiate Lockdown. It sends out an email to all of your users, and it lets them know that the building is in a lockdown, and the idea is to hold off when coming in if you're commuting, or maybe stay where you are. But yeah, you have the ability to use this feature, and once you click it, no one can get in the building. Everyone can still exit, unless you've made a special exception for first responder or special group of users. And then once you find out that the situation is secure, you can just say clear all lockdowns, and it'll lift the lockdown and allow your users to access the doors again.
And what happens if the internet goes down?
Yeah, great question. So the actual main board of the Brivo system is going to retain upwards of 60,000 events offline. So even if the internet goes down, you're still able to use the system as it was designed. You're still able to swipe your card, your fob at the door, and gain entry and exit, etc. So everything just works the same. Just any changes you make to the system, they won't take effect until the internet connection is restored. So hypothetically, if you added a new site while the internet is out, that new site is not going to appear until the internet comes back up. And if that's something that happens frequently, we do have a cellular network router that we can use for redundancy. So if you live in an area with frequent internet outages, we can find a way to work around that.
And the next question is, what lock hardware does smart home work with?
Yeah, absolutely. So smart home works with Z-Wave technology. So you'll see a lot of Kissy and Yale lock sets. Those are the ones that are most popular. So Kissy, excuse me if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, and Yale, Y-A-L-E, are the ones you'll see most frequently, and they're using Z-Wave technology.
Awesome. And to upload users in batch numbers, what format does it need to be?
Yeah, absolutely. For that, there's actually a document that we can send you that shows you how it needs to be formatted for our data upload form. So you need to fill in the information for us, and then we actually send you a blueprint of how the data needs to be organized. So it'll be on an Excel style spreadsheet. You'll have your first name, your last name. If you're uploading a group, if you're uploading a badge, an image, or just the cards. So I'd recommend just giving us a call here at customer care, and we can get you that form and walk you through filling in that information.
And our last question that we're going to go through, we keep receiving it, but what happens when you lose power?
Yeah, absolutely. Very similar to the internet. There's some redundancies put in place. So for the doors and for the panel, you're going to have a backup battery there that's going to provide power to you for a while. And outside of that, there's typically going to be free egress, but if the power goes out, we have those backup batteries in place for either your panel and at your doors. And really just kind of depending on how much activity you see will determine how long the battery will last. So anywhere from 8 hours, up to a couple of days, really just kind of depending on how frequently that door is being used.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. And unfortunately, that's all the time we have for questions today. If you had a question that you sent us and we didn't get to follow with you, we will be following up after the webinar and also be sending you a recording of this demo as well. If you want to go ahead and schedule a one-on-one meeting to get your questions answered more and in detail, you can use the book a meeting resource that is on your control panel, and that will schedule you a meeting with one of our Brivo experts. To learn more about Brivo Access and the additions available, feel free to use our helpful resources or visit brivo.com. We want to thank you for joining us again, and we hope to be working with you soon. Have a good day, everyone.